The gods of the ancient Middle East were more than just myths. They were rulers of storms, creators of life, and warriors who clashed with chaos itself. They weren't just divine beings, they were the architects of civilizations, their powers shaping not only the physical world, but the spiritual beliefs and daily lives of millions. But among this divine assembly, some gods stood out above the rest, gods whose stories continue to captivate us with their sheer power, epic battles, and cosmic authority. Which ones were the most powerful? Which gods carried the weight of creation, destruction, love, and leadership? From the god who split a chaos dragon in half to forge the world, to the goddess who defied death itself in a descent to the underworld, these are the legends that helped shape the foundation of human civilization. These stories are not mere relics of the past. They are tales of ambition, conflict, and triumph that resonate deeply even today. They reveal humanity's age-old fascination with the forces of nature, the mysteries of life and death, and the need for order in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. The gods we'll explore today weren't just revered. They were feared, loved, and most importantly, remembered. The Middle East, often called the cradle of civilization, was the birthplace of some of the world's most powerful and influential deities. It was here, in the fertile lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, that humanity built its first cities, developed writing, and told its first great stories. The myths of Sumer, Babylon, Canaan, and early Israel are some of the oldest recorded in human history, serving as a testament to the creativity and imagination of ancient peoples. These stories gave meaning to life, explaining everything from the rising of the sun to the tumult of a storm. In this video, we'll dive into the awe-inspiring tales of 5 of the Middle East's most powerful gods. From Enlil, the storm god who wielded the forces of nature, to Yahweh, the singular God whose worship reshaped human history, we'll uncover their myths, their roles, and the legacies they left behind. Their power wasn't just in their might, it was in their ability to define the worlds they ruled. Let's begin. Enlil, the storm god. Enlil, the great storm god of Sumerian mythology, was one of the most powerful and influential deities in the ancient Middle East. Known as the King of the Gods, Enlil ruled over the heavens and the earth, wielding control over storms, wind, and the very forces of nature. His authority was absolute, and his decisions shaped the destiny of both gods and mortals. As a creator, a destroyer, and a ruler, Enlil symbolized the balance between chaos and order, a theme central to the mythology of the Sumerians and later Mesopotamian cultures. One of the most significant myths associated with Enlil is the story of how he separated heaven and earth, creating the foundations of the cosmos. In the beginning, the universe was a singular, undivided entity, where heaven and earth were joined together. Enlil, recognizing the need for structure and order, used his immense power to split the heavens from the earth, giving each realm its distinct purpose and boundaries. His act of creation was more than just physical. It was symbolic of humanity's struggle to find order in a chaotic world. With this separation, Enlil assigned Anu, the god of the heavens, dominion over the skies, while Enlil himself became the ruler of the earth and its natural forces. However, Enlil was not just a creator. He was also a god capable of immense wrath. This duality is exemplified in the story of the Great Flood, a precursor to later flood myths like the one found in the Bible. According to Sumerian legend, Enlil grew increasingly frustrated with humanity's noise and disobedience. The clamor of mortals disrupted the peace of the gods, and Enlil, in his anger, decided to unleash a catastrophic flood to wipe out humanity. The flood swept across the earth, destroying nearly everything in its path. Yet, the myth also highlights a glimmer of hope and mercy. Ea, or Enki, the god of wisdom and water, intervened, warning a mortal named Ziusudra, later associated with Utnapishtim and Noah in different traditions, to build an ark to preserve life. This tale not only underscores Enlil's power, but also his role as a divine judge, capable of both destruction and renewal. Enlil's connection to kingship and civilization further solidifies his legacy as a central figure in Sumerian culture. He was seen as the divine source of authority, granting legitimacy to rulers and guiding the development of human society. Sumerian kings often referred to themselves as chosen by Enlil, emphasizing their divine right to rule and their responsibility to uphold order and justice in his name. Enlil's temple, the Ikur in the city of Nippur, was considered one of the most sacred sites in ancient Mesopotamia. It served not only as a religious center, but also as a symbol of Enlil's role as the protector and overseer of human civilization. Beyond his mythological and cultural significance, Enlil's character reflects the complexities of nature itself. He was a god of storms, embodying both their destructive fury and their life-giving power. Storms could devastate crops and homes, but they also brought the rain necessary for survival. This duality made Enlil a figure both feared and revered, a god who could bring prosperity or ruin depending on his will. Enlil's legacy extends far beyond the borders of Sumer. As Mesopotamian culture spread, his influence was absorbed into the mythologies of neighboring civilizations, including the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. Over time, Enlil's role as the king of the gods was passed to Marduk in Babylonian mythology. But his importance as a foundational figure in the pantheon remained undeniable. His stories set the stage for many of the themes and archetypes that would later appear in other mythologies, from the idea of a storm god wielding control over nature to the concept of divine judgment through a great flood. In the grand tapestry of ancient Middle Eastern mythology, Enlil stands as a towering figure, embodying the power of creation, destruction, and leadership. His myths remind us of humanity's enduring struggle to understand and coexist with the forces of nature, while his legacy as a symbol of kingship and civilization reflects our desire for order and purpose in an often chaotic world. Enlil, the mighty storm god, remains a testament to the imagination and wisdom of the ancient Sumerians, whose stories continue to inspire and captivate us thousands of years later. Marduk, the Chaos Slayer. Marduk, the great Chaos Slayer, stands as one of the most extraordinary and influential gods of the ancient Middle East. His rise to power wasn't just a tale of divine succession. It was a reflection of Babylon's own ascent as a cultural and political powerhouse. Though initially a lesser deity in the Mesopotamian pantheon, Marduk's legend grew until he was hailed as the chief god of Babylon. His story, as told in the epic Enuma Elish, is one of triumph over chaos, symbolizing the victory of order over disorder and civilization over primal destruction. The Enuma Elish, one of the oldest surviving creation myths, tells the tale of how Marduk earned his place as the king of the gods. In the beginning, the universe was a swirling, chaotic void ruled by Tiamat, the primordial goddess of salt water, and Apsu, the god of fresh water. Tiamat and Apsu's offspring, the younger gods, disrupted their peace, leading Apsu to plan their destruction. But Ea, a cunning god, thwarted Apsu's plan by slaying him. Tiamat, enraged by her partner's death, created an army of monstrous beings and prepared to wage war on the younger gods. Amidst the looming chaos, none of the gods dared face Tiamat's wrath, until Marduk stepped forward. Marduk offered to lead the gods into battle against Tiamat, but he demanded a high price: absolute authority over the universe. The gods agreed, granting him supreme power. Armed with his bow, a net, and a lightning-filled storm, Marduk confronted Tiamat in an epic battle. The clash was nothing short of cosmic. Marduk ensnared Tiamat in his net and struck her with his arrows, ultimately splitting her in two. From her lifeless body, he crafted the heavens and the earth. Her eyes became the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, while her body formed the firmament that held the cosmos together. With this act, Marduk not only defeated chaos, but also created the world as the gods and humanity knew it. Marduk's story is rich with symbolism, embodying themes of leadership, justice, and the establishment of order. As a god of order, he represented the triumph of civilization over the unpredictable forces of nature and chaos. He was a protector, a lawgiver, and a ruler who brought structure to the cosmos and the human world alike. His battle with Tiamat was more than a mythical tale. It was a reflection of the struggle every society faces to impose stability and justice in a turbulent world. To the Babylonians, Marduk wasn't just a god. He was the divine embodiment of their city's power, resilience, and destiny. The rise of Marduk to supremacy paralleled Babylon's emergence as a dominant force in Mesopotamia. Just as Marduk ascended to the throne of the gods, Babylon rose to become the political and cultural center of the region. The city's rulers, most notably King Hammurabi, invoked Marduk's name to legitimize their authority and emphasize their role as guardians of order and justice. Marduk became the god of kings, his image often tied to the principles of law and governance. The famed Code of Hammurabi was said to be delivered to the king by Marduk himself, further cementing his role as the ultimate arbiter of justice. Beyond Babylon, Marduk's influence extended across the ancient Middle East. He became a symbol of power and leadership, and his myth continued to inspire awe and reverence long after Babylon's decline. His story resonated with the universal human desire to overcome chaos, build structure, and find meaning in the face of uncertainty. To this day, the epic of Marduk and Tiamat stands as a testament to the creative power of myth and the enduring legacy of the ancient gods. Marduk's triumph was not merely a tale of might, it was the story of a god who brought balance to a fractured cosmos, transforming chaos into creation. He was a slayer, a creator, and a ruler all at once, embodying the qualities of a divine king. In his victory, the Babylonians saw their own destiny, a destiny of greatness, order, and unity under the watchful eye of their most powerful god, Ishtar, goddess of love and war. Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, embodies one of the most fascinating paradoxes in ancient mythology. She is both a nurturer and a destroyer, the giver of life and the harbinger of death. To the ancient Mesopotamians, she was a complex and dynamic force of nature, representing the raw, untamed power of passion and conflict. Her dual nature made her a deity both adored and feared, as she controlled not only love and fertility, but also war and destruction. Ishtar's influence permeated every aspect of life, from the blossoming of new relationships to the fiery chaos of the battlefield. One of the most compelling tales in Ishtar's mythology is her descent into the underworld, a journey that reveals her unyielding power and unrelenting ambition. The story begins with Ishtar deciding to descend into the realm of her sister, Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld. Her reasons for this descent vary across different versions of the myth, ranging from a desire to conquer the underworld to seeking to comfort her grieving sister. Whatever the reason, Ishtar's descent was fraught with danger, as no mortal or god could leave the underworld unscathed. As Ishtar approached the gates of the underworld, she demanded entry, declaring her divine authority. Ereshkigal, however, was wary of her sister's intentions and devised a plan to strip Ishtar of her power. At each of the 7 gates of the underworld, Ishtar was forced to remove an article of clothing or an ornament, symbolizing the gradual loss of her divine power and authority. By the time she reached the inner sanctum, Ishtar stood naked and powerless before Ereshkigal. There, she was struck down and imprisoned, causing her absence to wreak havoc on the world above. Without Ishtar, the forces of love and fertility ceased to function. Crops failed, animals stopped reproducing, and human life hung in the balance. Eventually, the gods intervened, recognizing that the world could not survive without Ishtar. Through a series of negotiations, Ishtar was revived and allowed to return to the world of the living. However, her escape came at a price. To restore balance, she was required to send a replacement to the underworld, ultimately choosing her lover, Tammuz, as the sacrificial substitute. This act solidified Ishtar's association with the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, tying her myth to the rhythms of nature and the changing seasons. Ishtar's mythology is rich with themes of love, fertility, and death, reflecting her profound influence over the cycle of life. As a goddess of love and fertility, she was a source of passion and creation, inspiring romance and the growth of life. Yet, as a goddess of war and destruction, she could unleash chaos and devastation with equal ferocity. This duality made her a force to be reckoned with, a deity who could bring abundance or annihilation depending on her mood or intent. Her followers revered her as the ultimate symbol of life's fragility and resilience, recognizing that love and war are 2 sides of the same coin. The legacy of Ishtar extended far beyond the boundaries of Mesopotamia, influencing later goddesses in other cultures. She became the model for the Canaanite goddess Astarte, who was worshipped in similar roles, and eventually inspired the Greek goddess Aphrodite and the Roman Venus. Though Ishtar's characteristics were adapted and softened in these later iterations, echoes of her duality remained. Her influence also persisted in artistic and literary traditions, where she continued to be depicted as a complex, multifaceted figure embodying the full spectrum of human emotions. Ishtar's power lay not just in her divine abilities, but in her ability to mirror humanity's deepest desires and fears. She was love's tender embrace and war's brutal cry, a goddess who could create and destroy with equal fervor. Her myths remind us of the interconnectedness of life's forces, the joy of creation, tempered by the inevitability of loss and the destruction that often precedes renewal. Ishtar remains an enduring symbol of the beauty and chaos inherent in the human experience, a goddess who stood at the crossroads of passion and power. El, the wise patriarch the wise patriarch of the Canaanite pantheon, stands as one of the most influential and revered figures in ancient Middle Eastern mythology. Known as the father of the gods, El was the chief deity, a calm and authoritative ruler who presided over the divine assembly. His name, which translates to God in many Semitic languages, reflects his status as a universal and timeless figure. El wasn't a warrior god or a bringer of chaos, but a symbol of stability, wisdom, and balance, ensuring harmony among both gods and humanity. As the supreme authority, he epitomized the archetype of a benevolent and all-knowing patriarch. The mythology surrounding El paints a picture of a god who ruled with wisdom and fairness, balancing power among his divine children. He was often depicted as an elderly figure with a long beard, symbolizing his vast knowledge and experience. Unlike other gods who were frequently embroiled in conflicts and battles, El was portrayed as a mediator and a source of guidance. One of the most well-known myths describes El's role as a father figure who resolved disputes between his offspring, including Baal, the storm god, and Yam, the god of the sea. While Yam sought to claim the throne of the gods through brute force, it was El's wisdom and eventual blessing of Baal that restored balance to the divine order. In another tale, El demonstrated his nurturing side by intervening to support the fertility goddess Asherah and her struggles for autonomy. El's mythology frequently highlights his role as a stabilizing force in a pantheon often marked by tumult and competition. He was a god who valued justice and fairness, ensuring that no one deity overstepped their bounds. These stories not only solidified his status as a father figure to the gods, but also as a protector of the natural and cosmic order. El's cultural significance extends far beyond his role in Canaanite mythology. As the ancient world evolved and cultures merged, El's image influenced the development of monotheistic traditions, particularly in the Hebrew faith. The term Elohim, used in the Hebrew Bible to refer to God, is derived from El's name, highlighting a direct connection between the ancient Canaanite deity and the singular God worshipped in Judaism. This connection signifies an important transition in the ancient world, from polytheism to the concept of a singular, all-powerful deity. El's characteristics of wisdom, authority, and compassion seamlessly aligned with the emerging monotheistic idea of a God who governs all creation with fairness and care. El's influence also reached into the mythology of neighboring cultures. His name and attributes appeared in Akkadian, Ugaritic, and Phoenician texts, suggesting that he was regarded as a universal figure of divinity across the ancient Middle East. The Phoenicians, who were great seafarers, carried El's legacy with them, spreading his worship and influence to distant shores. As monotheistic traditions like Judaism grew in prominence, they absorbed and transformed many elements of El's mythology, ensuring his legacy endured even as the Canaanite religion faded. El's image persists in religious traditions to this day, though often in more subtle forms. His role as a father figure and a god of wisdom echoes in modern conceptions of divinity, particularly in the Abrahamic religions. Whether consciously or unconsciously, the qualities attributed to the God of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, compassion, authority, and the maintenance of cosmic order, bear a striking resemblance to those of El. Even his title, Father of the Gods, resonates with the monotheistic view of God as the ultimate creator and sustainer of life. El's enduring legacy lies in his ability to embody the ideals of wisdom, stability, and justice in a world that often seemed chaotic and uncertain. He wasn't the god of war or destruction, but the god who brought order to the cosmos and maintained balance among the forces of nature and the divine. His stories remind us of the importance of leadership rooted in wisdom and fairness, and his influence on later religious traditions demonstrates the deep connections between ancient myths and modern spirituality. El, the wise patriarch, remains a timeless figure, one whose legacy bridges the ancient and contemporary worlds. Yahweh, the singular God of Israel, is one of the most transformative and enduring figures in the history of religion. His origins trace back to the early Israelite tribes, where he was initially revered as a tribal deity. In these early days, Yahweh was worshipped alongside other gods in the Canaanite pantheon, his identity rooted in his role as a warrior god who protected his people and led them to victory in battle. Over time, however, Yahweh's significance grew, evolving from a tribal protector to the one true God of Israel. This shift marked a profound change in religious thought, one that would ripple across history and give rise to monotheism. In his earliest depictions, Yahweh was a powerful and dynamic God who embodied the ideals of strength and protection. The Hebrew Bible often describes him as a warrior who fought for his chosen people, delivering them from their enemies and securing their survival. For example, in the story of the Exodus, Yahweh is portrayed as a God who not only freed the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, but also led them through the wilderness with a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. His triumph over Pharaoh's army at the Red Sea reinforced his image as a divine savior and protector. Similarly, Yahweh's role in the conquest of Canaan, where he was believed to guide the Israelites in their battles, highlighted his connection to war and justice. As the Israelite religion developed, Yahweh's role expanded beyond that of a warrior god. Over time, the worship of Yahweh transitioned into monotheism, a belief system that recognized him as the sole, all-encompassing deity. This transition likely began during the period of the Babylonian exile, when the Israelites faced the destruction of the first temple and the loss of their homeland. Faced with these existential challenges, they redefined their relationship with Yahweh, seeing him not only as their protector, but as the universal creator and sustainer of all life. This shift marked the foundation of Judaism, where Yahweh was no longer one God among many, but the singular God who transcended all others. The cultural significance of Yahweh's transition into monotheism cannot be overstated. This belief in one God not only reshaped Israelite society, but also influenced the development of two of the world's largest religions, Christianity and Islam. In Christianity, Yahweh's role as the God of Israel was expanded to include the idea of the Trinity, where he is understood as God the Father, alongside Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. In Islam, Yahweh's identity is echoed in Allah, the singular and all-powerful God of the Quran. Both religions draw heavily from the Hebrew Bible and its depiction of Yahweh as the ultimate authority, weaving his story into their own spiritual frameworks. Yahweh's mythology, though rooted in the ancient world, also set the stage for profound ethical and moral teachings that continue to shape societies today. His covenant with the Israelites established a set of laws and principles that emphasized justice, compassion, and devotion. The Ten Commandments, attributed to Yahweh, became a cornerstone of Western legal and moral systems, influencing countless generations. Unlike many ancient deities, Yahweh was not just a god of power and conquest, but a god of principles, calling his followers to a higher standard of behavior and commitment. The legacy of Yahweh's worship extends far beyond his role in religious texts. He is a central figure in the shared history of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which together account for over half of the world's population. The enduring belief in Yahweh reflects a profound transformation in human spirituality, the move from polytheistic traditions to the idea of one God who is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. This belief not only shaped the religious practices of billions, but also influenced art, literature, philosophy, and politics throughout history. Yahweh's story is one of evolution and revolution. From his origins as a tribal protector to his emergence as the universal God of monotheism, his journey mirrors humanity's search for meaning and connection with the divine. His mythology, cultural significance, and legacy reveal a God who is not only a reflection of the ancient world, but a driving force behind some of the most profound changes in human thought and belief. The stories of the 5 most powerful gods of the ancient Middle East, Enlil, Marduk, Ishtar, El, and Yahweh, offer a fascinating glimpse into the cultures and beliefs that shaped human history. Enlil, the storm god, represented the raw forces of nature and humanity's quest to understand and control the world. Marduk, the chaos slayer, symbolized the triumph of order over chaos, crafting the very fabric of the universe from the remnants of destruction. Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, embodied the paradoxes of life, weaving together creation and destruction, passion and power. El, the wise patriarch, stood as a figure of stability and wisdom, guiding the gods and humanity alike. Finally, Yahweh, the singular God, revolutionized spirituality by introducing the concept of monotheism, forever altering the course of human belief systems. Together, these gods reveal recurring themes that are as timeless as they are powerful. They highlight the human fascination with creation and destruction, the balance between chaos and order, and the complexities of love and leadership. Their myths mirror our own struggles and aspirations, reminding us that mythology is not just about gods, it's about humanity's quest to make sense of the world. These deities didn't just shape ancient civilizations. Their stories continue to influence art, literature, philosophy, and religion, leaving an indelible mark on the modern world. Their stories may be ancient, but their impact echoes through time, reminding us of the power of myth to shape our world. Myths are not merely relics of the past. They are living legacies, testaments to the creativity and imagination of early civilizations. The tales of these gods offer wisdom and inspiration, showing us how ancient peoples grappled with universal questions about life, death, love, and power. And in their epic battles and divine decisions, we see reflections of our own hopes, fears, and dreams. If you're fascinated by mythology and ancient civilizations, like this video, subscribe, and let's uncover more epic tales together. These are the stories that connect us to our shared history, bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern, and showing us how the myths of yesterday continue to shape the world of today. Let's explore more incredible legends together.